Are you running, lady?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, hello.
Whenever you're ready.
Good morning, everybody. It's 9:03. The election board meeting will start now. Today's date is October the 20th, 2022. Olga, could you please?
Okay. Judge KP George is absent today, so let the record show. Carmen Turner, tax assessor.
Carmen Turner.
Okay. Laura Richard, county clerk.
Present.
Cynthia Ginyard, party chair for the Democrat Party.
Present.
Bobby Eberly for the Republican Party chairman.
Present.
Thank you. Okay, number 2, approve minutes of the meeting held on April 26, 2022.
Do I hear a motion? Do I have a motion?
I haven't received minutes.
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
have it either.
Okay.
So we won't vote on it today? Okay.
We won't. Number 3, receive update from Information Technology Department on elections preparation.
Thank you,
Morning.
Mr. Warner, for coming up.
Thank you. So as I briefed last week, we are providing IT field technicians to supplement elections field technicians for early voting and for Election Day on November 8th. So there are a lot of new judges, so we do expect some issues, but nothing that we can't handle. So my operations manager is working with John to determine an adequate number. Right now, we have that number established, and that number could increase or decrease as the situation dictates. We've picked up our certificates of appointments, so that will allow us to enter the polling locations. We also have our county badges and our driver's license, so we can properly identify ourselves before entering the location. Remote collection site for the night of Election Day will be, we've completed connectivity testing, and so we'll be providing 3 technicians to be at the remote location site to process thumb drives. That'll be from 6:30 to 9:00 p.m. on election night, November 8th. Live streaming, as you know, as briefed last week, we've added 6 cameras at 4 locations, so those cameras are up and operational. You can also view them on the website. My application support team will be providing updates to the county, regular updates to the county website, and we'll also provide the election staff with the capability to update voting locations using pin colors on Election Day. So pretty excited about that. Phone numbers, as briefed last week, there are 3 phone numbers I want to highlight. The first is 281-341-8670. That is the elections number for voters to call if they have questions. The next number is 281-341-4500. That is the number for election judges to call if they have elections-related questions. And the third number is 281-238-3580. Election judges will call this number if they have technical questions. For example, if there's an issue with the DS-200 or DS-450, a technical issue that they cannot resolve. And if those numbers...
What was the last number?
Would you, yeah. mine
Thank you,
is-
I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
That's okay.
Thank you. 281-238-3580.
All right, and that's the tech line.
That's the tech line.
Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
For the judges to call if they have a technical issue they can't resolve.
Okay.
And if those numbers, if that number becomes oversaturated, then the plan is for them to call IT. And that number is 281-341-4580.
Okay.
Okay, and
Yes.
is there any other questions for anybody on the panel? No questions for anybody on the panel? Laura?
I'm good.
Y'all, you good?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I had one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I know y'all went in and put in the IT stuff with the cameras and everything. So when will they be tested for the last test, or have they already been tested for the last test? I know I've been getting a lot of stuff from you all already.
Yes.
They're on now.
Yeah.
They're on and work.
We brought in, ballot board came in to work as signature verification committee yesterday, so they were turned on at that time.
Okay, okay, and so,
The remote sites will only be on
right,
election night.
right. And so on the 8th, all everywhere where we're counting at, they will be on and working at 6 o'clock, or what time will they start?
I'm not sure.
Or will we be running all day?
Nothing will come into the site until after 7:30, so we'll
Right.
probably turn them on about 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
7:30,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
And also, I forgot to add, we'll be updating the Nextdoor website, reminding voters that early voting starts on Monday, and
Okay.
reminding them of the times for early
Okay,
voting and for Election Day. So we'll send that out probably Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
IT, y'all did a great
Madam-
job. Go ahead.
Therefore, all of our sites, of course, the main elections office, and the 4 intake sites, all of them are covered by cameras, so that whatever activity is being transpired is viewable in real time, as well as by tape later on if needed.
That is correct. You can, those cameras can go back and be viewed later.
Sure.
Yes.
And one of the reasons that we decided to do that was because the last time we came out, John, I think you remember for the primary, we had a lot of people come in, and John couldn't get his work done because they were bothering him about what was going on in the office. So now that we have cameras everywhere in all 3 of the locations, that shouldn't be a problem at all. I think we, the other day, a couple of days ago, you sent me some video of all the different locations where they're set up. Did y'all already get them for y'all in the email, or y'all didn't? Could you?
No?
No.
Not yet.
Okay. Can you send them the same emails that you sent me for all 3 locations where they're going to be counting at, where they put the cameras up, where you'll be able to see exactly where they're counting at? And when
Okay.
it's going on live time. Is that good for you guys?
That's good.
Can y'all handle that for me, IT? Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
The same one that you sent me, where they'll be able to see where the cameras will be located, where they'll be putting the drives in. Is there anything else that we need
No,
to
ma'am.
cover? John, are you good with that?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Y'all, okay.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
4, identify areas of concern for the upcoming Fort Bend County 2022 general election.
Next, we'll have John Odom.
Okay, just as I was leaving the office to come here, I saw trucks pulling in, so we're loading equipment to go to early voting sites that'll be delivered starting first thing in the morning. We have all our early voting presiding clerks and alternates coming in tomorrow, late tomorrow morning, to go over, just again, refresher election law issues, hand out some materials to them, give them their bag with their keys to the cabinet, supply cabinet where things are stored, passwords, so on and so forth. We've encouraged them to make contact, because so many of them are new, with their polling place previously, and we've done the same with election day judges. Also, we have some new sites, some of which are pretty small, I'll admit that, but when we did not think we were going to have any Katy ISD or Lamar CISD schools available to us, we had to kind of go to some smaller alternative sites. We got one very small site north of Fulshire. I bet it doesn't vote 100 people, but once we arranged for it, I decided to keep it. Same thing to try to, when we lost Beck and a couple other Katy ISD schools, Commissioner Morales suggested we go to the Precinct 1 building. It's a pretty small spot, but at least they should be able to handle, 75 voters an hour in there, and it will give some relief to Cinco Ranch. And we have another one at an apartment building that's only early voting because it's right next door to Gallery Furniture, which is an election day site that will, it's small, but at least some people will be able to vote early. So, we're hoping that people don't come out in droves on Monday morning until we find out if everybody can handle their jobs okay and get everything open. But also, we don't have any idea on turnout. We've sent out a little over 11,000 ballot by mail, which is not horrible, but it is, we have a week to go, or a week from tomorrow, and we're running about 5,500 behind what we did 4 years ago in an off-year election. We've only had about 3,500 of those returned, although that, I'm not concerned about that number. But if that's an indication of interest and turnout, we may or may not have we may be back into the 39% range for an off-year election, or we may, it doesn't look to me like it'll go back to 60% like it did 4 years ago, but I could be wrong. We just have, it's just somewhat of an educated guess. So do you have any questions on, and we've conducted, I think now 48 poll worker training classes. Those were generally between 2.5 and 3 hours. So, and prior to that, we did just paperwork training with our new poll workers. We'll do about an 1.5 to 2 hour training tomorrow for legal issues, so procedural issues. So, any questions on anything?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, John, first of all, I appreciate everything that you're doing. And if there's anything, since you had mentioned, the number of newer people, if there's anything that I can pass along to our folks as far as places to call, or if they did have anything, I'd
Yeah,
love
we're
to-
going to be giving them material tomorrow. In fact, I
Okay.
was printing some handouts. We've also gotten some information from the district attorney's office, which I think was working with the county attorney's office. They have a listing of numbers to call. We have the sheriff's hotline number programmed into our phones that we provide to the workers, but they have several numbers as well to call for issues. One area, and maybe Ken can help with this or at least discuss it. I was working with somebody in the county or district attorney's office who his last day was yesterday, I guess, and so we don't really know where we are. And I didn't find that out until yesterday. So we need to find out where we are in terms of law enforcement. The plan was to have some people moving around through the area, checking on precincts. We've never had a major issue with politically inspired violence in this county. In the spring, we did have a sort of a brawl at a polling site, but that was unrelated to the election. It was groups of teenagers that just decided to go to Four Corners and get in a
Right.
fight. So,
Okay, well, that's helpful, because that was one of my questions too, if you guys have just been hearing anything, like any.
We've not, I'm on I receive daily stuff from Homeland Security, and actually the chatter, according to them, is very, very low in terms of, it's lower, getting less information than we did 2 years ago. But of course, I was presidential, so
Sure,
we'll
right.
see how this goes. But we've never really had other than sometimes some people get aggravated at the end of, when the polls close on the last night of early voting or election day, that they want to get in line at 7:15 because there is a line, and then they'll get into some altercations. But we know those sites where that tends to occur, and we will try to have law enforcement there at, say, 6:45 or something, at probably 4 or 5 sites to help with that issue. So, and some of that will kind of be driven by what our turnout is. If we have low turnout through the entire voting period, we kind of assume maybe there won't be a problem on the last day. But, people love to, we have election day sites that will vote more people sometimes between 5:30 and 7 than they do all day long.
Right.
Because people show up, and I think they enjoy that, so.
John, we have,
Yeah, right.
we have the DA's office, which is going to speak on security
Yeah.
in a minute or so.
Okay, a couple others.
Is there any other
Yeah.
questions you have for John?
Yeah,
John, he had another question for you.
Okay.
Was
Yes.
it for John, or who was it for?
yeah, it's for John.
Go ahead.
On the issue of turnout, you're given some estimates, but in the case that we did have larger turnout at particular locations and the ballot boxes got full, do we have the chain of command operations
Yeah, we
for
have a
that?
plan for that.
What is that?
And again, some of that depends, inside the big ballot box, there's a blue bin where ballots fall. And depending on the length of the ballot, and this time it's a 17-inch ballot, we're thinking that they can hold about 3,000 ballots. So now, for example, Needville will probably be good, maybe not, but for the entire early voting, nobody will fill up on election day. Some of our bigger sites, we're sending 2 scanners to. They can either use them simultaneously, particularly if they have 2 doors which voters may exit, or they can use one and then replace it with another. We will monitor turnout. So when we see that they've got about 3, if on Tuesday afternoon Cinco Ranch has 2,700 ballots in, we will make sure that either that night or the next morning, we replace the blue bin. We will provide them with extra ones. We don't send them out, but we will drop them off. And they can do that, seal them up, fill out the chain of custody information. And if we're not available to pick them up, they'll store them in their supply cabinet. And then, or we will pick them up if we're available, bring them back, store them in tabulation, so.
Okay, yeah, the option to lock them up is awesome. If there's someone picking them up, we would have verification, I mean, be
Yeah,
able to
right,
watch that,
right.
just like any other
Well,
chain
the
of
poll
custody.
watchers will watch it, so.
Yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we won't be able to notify somebody to say, okay, at 5:05, we're gonna pick up a ballot bin. It's just not practical, so.
Okay, but the poll watchers can.
The poll
watch it,
watchers
yeah,
are there, they're,
Sure. And
they'll
then
be
it's just-
signing off on all this.
Yeah, and then the only other question I had was just the status of the verifications, the machine verifications. Where are we on that?
Well, I mean, are you talking about the hash validation?
Yes.
Hash validation was done. Now, some of the people watching it aren't happy with what they see because they want to be able to get a printout. And the system does not produce a printout. It was never designed to do that. So you got to remember that hash validation, to my knowledge, is only done in the state of Texas. And it was passed as part of an amendment to SB 1. The systems were not designed to produce a record of hash. You do this testing, and Jahan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and it's basically flashes up. We had to take a computer, strip everything off of it, the operating system, put something called Ubuntu on it, which is basically pardon? Right, it's an operating system. And essentially, you see this on the screen, it will tell you it passed hash validation or it failed. And some of your folks were there when we did this, and they saw it, but they want something on paper. Well, it won't produce paper. There's no way, we can't retrofit it now.
Right, what's the remedy for that? I mean,
Well,
what do
it's going to have to be a vendor issue. And I don't know if the state will, the state's not overly concerned about it, at least they haven't expressed any concern to us. And, but the remedy would be for them to do a software and firmware change, which would have to go to the EAC, would have to then go to each individual state, or in this case, maybe only Texas. They do that testing in January of each year and usually release the report in June. However, something like this might take 2 to 3 years to do, going through all the different processes. So it's not, we can't give somebody something that doesn't exist.
Okay.
That's the bottom line.
I have a couple of more things, but right now I'm gonna see if Laurie or Cynthia have anything.
No, just that, John, thank you for running elections that have been smooth, and we certainly have human hiccups and human error or something like that, but our elections have been of the utmost integrity. I've been chair since 2016, and I expect them to be executed from the beginning of early voting through election night. If there's an unforeseen problem, all responsible parties jump in and do what it takes to straighten it out. And I have no other expectations than that. We have people brand new to this process, and they need to listen to those who are experienced and know what they're doing so that we can get through the process. Now, I've already heard some feedback about those being trained, trying to tell trainers they should verify the signature that's on the sign-in pad. Well, the intake person has your license in their hand before you do that. So, you know, that kind of level of idiocy trying to tell somebody something that you've never done before needs to not be a part of it. As usual, I'm willing to do whatever I need to do and make sure my people are doing what they need to do to make sure that we have the kind of elections process that Fort Bend County has had since I've been in office, which has been since 2016. And I look forward to working with any and everybody.
Laura?
Thank you, Carmen. I just want to deliver a positive message. John, thank you for everything you're doing. I already told you, especially thanks to Chase, I think he's been a great addition
He's been
to
a
your
great
team.
asset to us.
So my compliments to Chase.
Compliment me for hiring him.
Oh, there you go. You have my compliments, John.
No, he's been great.
And then just a call out to Robin's team, Jahan Beverly, all of you. I don't want to miss anybody, but all of you have given, 100% and more, and we so appreciate your efforts. So thank you.
And then the only other thing that I had was, I know that we're bringing on 20, or is it 22 brand-new people? Are we still
Something like that.
bringing on?
I'm not, this thing is sort of a moving target. We have
Right.
people that tell us, oh, we decided we can't do it, or we can only do it so many days. I try to not involve myself with a poll worker selection
Okay,
process.
so is
And
that 20, who would
I think initially we were looking at 22, but that may have changed a little bit. Now, bear in mind that let's say if we've got a new presiding clerk, judge, or they're really early voting, they're clerks. But let's say we got a new person presiding in Chasewood. Charles Ballard's still there as the alternate, so he has the knowledge, and we hope we have that. I think there's really only one site where the Democrat who'd been there for a long time said, I'm not doing this, and I think she was ready to go anyway, so it was just a good reason. So I think that we will, assuming that the presiding clerks will accept advice from the alternates, we should be good.
To be honest, like Cynthia said and Laura said, we have been doing a great job so far. We have never had any problems. We're going to play team through this whole process. We're going to work together on both sides. And we expect to help you guys any kind of way y'all need help, and I expect the same thing for us. The only other concern that I had and question that I had was, John, first I'm going to give you a chance to speak. You had something to say? You got early?
I know John talked about the SO help. I know this week we verified the SO hotline. It is up and operational. We tested that this week. And I know the county attorney's office also has a line for non-criminal legal issues that was tested this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what I was going to do, if you don't mind, John, if that's all for John?
Oh, actually, can I ask
Go
a
ahead,
question
go
about, so there's a DA hotline, a county attorney hotline, and an SO hotline, or did I hear that wrong?
I'm tracking two hotlines.
Oh,
So there's
two.
one for the county attorney's office.
Okay.
For non-criminal or legal issues.
Right.
Then there's one that the SO has, the SO
Okay.
hotline. So if there's an instance at one of the polling locations, there's a hotline that they can call at the sheriff's office, and they'll send someone
I
out.
thought the DA had one as well.
They do.
They do? Okay, all right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're giving the poll workers today a sheet with all those.
Oh,
numbers.
okay.
Now, we have
Okay,
the
good.
sheriff, just the sheriffs, because we had all this stuff in our phones, and I didn't get these numbers till day before yesterday.
Sure, sure.
So the
That's fine.
sheriff's number, I think, remained the same. The other two had changed. So
Okay.
we didn't program those in, but we are giving them a sheet of paper that lists that. So-
Okay.
So Fort Bend County has always been a safe county, and we're going to keep it safe. I asked the DA's office, someone from the DA's office, to come over today and at least speak. I know that we got an email. I hadn't had a chance to look over the email because I just received the email, and you all should have the email dropped in y'all's. If y'all have it now, y'all will get it sometime later this afternoon. Can you come up and tell us about how security is going to be ran? Okay. Can you say your name? and-
Yeah, Ken Canada with the Fort Bend County Attorney's Office. James Hugh was the individual who left yesterday to go to the FBI. But I'm looking at his email, and I'll read it to you. District Attorney's Office will have prosecutors on call to address questions or concerns related to criminal complaints at any time. Chief Sonny Mitchell, whose number will be 832-250-3666. 3471, and Chief Lester Blizzard, whose number is 832-490-4231. And these numbers should be used only to law enforcement and poll workers, not the public.
Okay,
The county attorney's office will have a hotline, and will have attorneys on staff 24/7 during this time period, and that number would be 832-471-1364. And again, that should be poll workers, law enforcement, not to be released to the public. However, there's a website where the public can reach the county attorney's office, again, 24/7, with any questions that they may have. And that'll be posted on the county's website.
okay. And you know this is live stream, and you just gave the numbers out to everybody, I think.
Okay. Again, those are only to be used
Okay.
by law enforcement
Okay.
and the poll workers,
Okay,
not
Okay.
the public.
okay. And then I think you were gonna come up from the DA's office, from something from Brian Millicent's office? I know both of y'all work together.
Good morning. And Ken Kanata and Mr. Oldham have addressed most of what we would have said. I'm Sunny Mitchell, this is Lester Blizzard. We have formed an election integrity task force, which is a collaborative effort between the district attorney's office, the county attorney's office, elections administration, information technology, and the sheriff's office. And so those numbers have been provided, will be provided to all of the poll workers and people working at the polls. For criminal issues, they can reach us at the numbers provided. For non-criminal issues, they'll have a hotline. The sheriff's office will have a roving patrol. They are going to have deputies checking by each of the polls regularly, checking in with a poll worker to find out if there's any reportable incidents, anything that needs to be covered. Elections administration will have tested all the machines, as Mr. Oldham said, make sure everything's working. If he has concerns, as you had addressed, sir, ahead of time, he'll let us know. They'll help step up patrol, have more people available. So we're just going to make sure that we can facilitate a peaceful and safe voting process for everybody.
So, one moment, is there any questions from either side? Okay, so, for me, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
So you're telling me that the outside and the inside will definitely be covered at the polls? Because I don't want intimidation. Like I said before, Fort Bend County has always been a great county. We've played team, and I see all the stuff over the media right now that keeps going on. And we just want to make sure our people on the outside that's standing in line and the people on the inside are going to be covered and everything is going to be okay.
Yes, as you mentioned, we have had the same election integrity task force in place, and they have made sure there haven't been problems in the past, and they'll continue to do so. They will check by periodically. Areas that are of higher concern, they'll probably check by more frequently. Areas of lower concern, they'll have communication with Mr. Oldham and know where they need to check more
Okay.
frequently.
Okay, this is a 2-week process and one day, election day.
Yes,
And what I want to make sure is, I mean, I would love to put the DA on spot, but he's not here today. Is that going to be every hour check, run around, or?
I actually don't know
process.
the answer to that. That would be a
Okay.
question for Sheriff Fagan.
Okay, Sheriff Fagan will be covering that part? Okay,
Well, he would be the one to answer how frequently he would have people go by. We have just taking sure that there are deputies available to check by at all the polls.
okay. So we can let the public know we'll definitely be safe on the inside and outside. Go ahead, John.
There are legal issues with placing a police car or an armed officer in uniform inside
Right.
or at a polling place. The courts have ruled that's intimidation, like somebody
Right.
who might be on probation, might be
Right.
scared to go vote. So we have to
Right.
be careful about the length of
Absolutely.
time and the visibility of officers at polling places.
Yeah, we just
Correct.
want
It's
everybody.
But they're
Process.
available on call.
Right.
You know, available to come, should anyone need to.
Right.
To call because of a situation that seems to be outside of the boundaries.
Correct. They won't be a constant presence. It'll be a check by.
Right, that's
Right.
fine. Mhm. Is there anything else for her? Now's the time. The DA office, get them while you have a chance.
No need to get us.
Right, yeah. Oh, in that case.
Is there any questions for anybody from IT, John, Election Hall? Are you all okay with where we are
Yeah,
now?
just one final comment for John,
Sure.
just a reminder, because I know you said you
Thank you
didn't.
so much, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Thank. Right. To get into the scheduling and everything like that, and I just wanted to thank the other side for all the job that you've done.
Thank you.
And keeping things running smoothly. We definitely want to keep doing that, and I appreciate all the experience that you guys have generated. Just to reiterate what you had said, based on your knowledge, there's, out of the 28 early voting locations, there should be only one that has like a new crew. So 27 out of 28 should have someone with experience there to
Some
help.
of them will have, everyone should have somebody with experience.
Okay.
What level of experience, some of these clerks have only worked during elections. They may not have set up the polling place, or they may not have turned on the
Exactly.
computer or whatever. Hopefully, if in the past, all our presiding people have done a good job and trained their workers, then we'll go.
John, can I get you to come to the mic if you don't mind?
Yep.
To hear you better. I swear I'm a little bit younger.
I don't think we are without experience in any one of our early voting sites. We may be in a couple of election day sites. But if, again, when I say experience, these are people who have worked elections or worked early voting. Now, what their role was, I don't really know. Maybe the presiding clerk didn't let them do anything other than check in voters. So I don't know how experienced they were in setting up things and doing paperwork. One of our big concerns is paperwork, because that's usually something done by the presiding judge on election day or the presiding clerk in early voting. And because a lot of these are new, but that won't necessarily affect voting. It'll affect audits and things like that after the fact, so.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nothing?
Are we ready for
Adjourn?
adjournment? Just closing statements. Again, Fort Bend County is known for how we do it right. And I enjoy that. And that's all sides. I'm talking county. I'm not talking a Democratic position here. We get it done. We get it done right. We have a problem, we fix it. That's John Oldham. I don't run elections. I'm a party person. And I hope and I pray that I'll still be saying this on November 9th when this is all done. And Fort Bend lives up to its reputation. I love this county. I live here. And I am still saying that on November 9th, that, oh yeah, we had a wrinkle there, we had a wrinkle there, but it's all good. I'm done.
I couldn't say anything better than that. I mean, that was excellent, and I appreciate that, and I really think that I want to think the same thing and say the same thing after the election as well. So if we all work together, Democrats, Republicans, elections office, I have no doubt that this can be smooth as we work together, because we want people to feel that their vote counts, and they're excited to vote, and whoever wins, wins. And I'm excited to do that, work with Cynthia, work with everybody to make sure that happens.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming out. We really appreciate it. Fort Bend County is the safest county that anybody could be in. I have to say that because I live in Fort Bend County, and we're proud to be here. Our crime is low, always have been low, and we're going to support and help the people through this election period. We do not have all the issues that the big counties have, like Harris County, so this is going to be a safe, because of John Odom, a safe election because of the Republican side and the Democrat side. We're going to do this with class and the dignity that we have in the county. Thank everybody for being here.
Ms.
We adjourn.
Turner,
Move to adjourn.
Can I move to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Thanks, everybody. Don't y'all ever ask